There's something fascinating about the way The Amazing World of Gumball breaks the rules. The show doesn't just play with reality, it bends it, twists it, and folds it into something entirely new. So it's only fitting that this chaos leaks beyond the borders of Elmore into other cartoons. Yes! Gumball Watterson, Cartoon Network's unpredictable blue cat, has made his way into other animated universes. Whether it's a blink and you miss it reference or a full-blown crossover, these moments show just how iconic Gumball has become. Let's start with one of the most direct and mind-bending examples. Teen Titans Go! In Season 3, Episode 20, titled Kicking a Ball and Pretending to be Hurt, the Titans get sucked into a parody multiverse of classic cartoons, while chasing down a squirrel. Yes, it's exactly as ridiculous as it sounds. But during their wild ride, the Titans briefly watch a segment that's clearly inspired by the old Wile E. Coyote versus Roadrunner formula. Only this time, the coyote is replaced with a greenish-blue, wide-hipped cat, and the Roadrunner is a speedy purple fish. Now, stop for a second. That's not just random design. The fish is almost an exact replica of Darwin, and the cat, though slightly different in color, mimics Gumball's movements, expressions, and even frustration when his plans fail. It's not officially called a Gumball crossover, but fans weren't fooled. The animation style, the chemistry between the cat and fish, and the dynamic chase are clear homages to Gumball and Darwin. This moment is one of those where creators don't need to spell it out. If you know, you know. It's the kind of clever reference that Cartoon Network often slips in, rewarding its most observant viewers. But the connections don't stop there. Next up is a cartoon that's as chaotic and surreal as Gumball himself, Uncle Grandpa. In Season 3, Episode 12, Uncle Grandpa hosts a fake awards show that parodies the Oscars. The scene is packed with familiar faces from all corners of the Cartoon Network universe. In the audience, sitting quietly near one of the stages, is none other than Gumball Watterson. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't need to. The presence alone is enough to set fans buzzing. And here's where it gets even cooler. The version of Gumball that appears in Uncle Grandpa is clearly modeled after his Season 1 or 2 design, with more oval eyes and subtle shading differences. That means the showrunners didn't just throw in a generic blue cat. They went out of their way to model early Gumball. This wasn't an accident. This was respect, a nod to an evolving character. And remember the episode of Uncle Grandpa called Pizza Eve? There's a bizarre editing scene that subtly reveals a preference for Gumball over Darwin, hinting that even the editors inside the cartoon world have their Gumball bias. The meta-ness of this moment, combined with Gumball's silent cameo, is just so on brand for a show like Uncle Grandpa, where absurdity is the law of the land. But if you think these cameos are limited to kid-friendly shows, think again. South Park, yes, that South Park, gave Gumball a quiet but meaningful nod in one of its most infamous arcs. Season 20, Episode 10, titled The End of Serialization as We Know It. In the episode, Sheila Broflovsky begins obsessively checking her son's internet history, leading to a rapid montage of content Kyle and Ike have consumed online. Amidst names like PewDiePie and games like Minecraft, the amazing world of Gumball appears. Just for a second, just a flash, but it's there. And in the world of South Park, where satire spares no one, that means something. Gumball isn't being mocked, he's being recognized, respected even. His popularity has reached the kind of cultural saturation that even adult animation couldn't ignore. Let's pause for a second. What do these three appearances, Teen Titans Go, Uncle Grandpa, and South Park, have in common? They don't just throw Gumball in for a cheap laugh. These are moments where the creators tip their hat to a fellow cartoon that has pushed boundaries in its own way. Whether it's Gumball's absurdist humor, emotional range, or chaotic animation style, other shows have started to echo his energy. And that's what makes these crossovers feel earned. They're not gimmicks, they're tributes. We're not done with the Teen Titans Go love just yet. That show, as unpredictable and meta as Gumball himself, references our blue feline not just once, but twice. In Season 6, Episode 15, titled Cat's Fancy, Starfire becomes obsessed with cats. And when we say obsessed, we mean full-blown crazy cat lady mode. Her apartment overflows with feline energy. Real cats, cat statues, cat music, and in the middle of the room, clear as day, lies a carpet. But it's not just any carpet. It features the unmistakable face of a blue cartoon cat. It's Gumball, not even stylized, just Gumball, laying there quietly, being walked on by a titan. Some might say it's just a cute prop, but if you've watched The Amazing World of Gumball, you know that nothing is ever just a prop. Proof that even in a universe filled with alien princesses and boy wonders, Gumball's fame makes him interior decor. But what happens when we cross into darker territory? Let's talk about Villainous, Cartoon Network Latin America's cult hit filled with science, shadows, and satire. The show revolves around the evil Black Hat organization and their attempts to educate the next generation of villains. If you're a Gumball fan, one episode will catch your eye like a neon sign, the 2000 Villain Telecourse. Because inside this twisted classroom sits a familiar face. Not Rob, not Principal Brown, Nicole Watterson, but not as we know her. She's a teenager here. Believe it or not, on her way to becoming a villain. In this flashback episode, the young Nicole appears as one of the students in the villain training program. We don't get a lot of lines, but we get enough. Dr. Flug, the series' main scientist, even remarks that he doesn't remember why Nicole never finished the course. That is, until we see a flashback. Nicole absolutely destroys him in hand-to-hand combat. The implication? She got expelled for being too dangerous. It's subtle, it's short, but it adds a whole new layer to Nicole's character. Fans always knew she had a fierce past. Now we've seen a glimpse of it. Villainous did more than reference Gumball. It expanded its lore. That brings us to a franchise that's practically built on legacy, Ben 10. Since its 2005 debut, Ben 10 has rebooted itself more times than we can count. Alien Force, Ultimate Alien, Omniverse, and finally, the more lighthearted 2016 reboot. And in that newer version, we get a strange little moment that true fans caught instantly. In one of the episodes, the clown villain Zombozo is behind the wheel of a car. Suddenly, he yells,
"What the what? This car is amazing!"
Now, if you've watched Gumball, you know this line. What the what is one of the most iconic, overused, and oddly charming catchphrases of the entire series. Gumball and Darwin say it constantly when they're shocked, confused, or just dramatically overreacting. It became so closely associated with the show that even Cartoon Network used it in Gumball promos. So when Zombozo blurts it out, almost word for word, it raises questions. Coincidence? Possibly. But then again, Gumball is one of the network's most recognizable characters. And this wasn't a one-time thing. That exact phrase,
What the what? What the what?
has been echoed across CN properties multiple times, like a hidden trademark of the Elmore universe. It's a signature. And that's what makes these crossover moments so clever. In one of Cartoon Network's most ambitious crossover episodes, the boundaries between generations of animation are shattered. The episode brings together classic icons like I Am Weasel and Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, blending them with modern favorites in a happy celebration of everything CN. But the highlight? It comes during an energetic, epic tag team move involving Ben 10 and K.O. from OK K.O. Let's Be Heroes. In the middle of battle, Ben activates the Omnitrix, but instead of turning into one of his usual alien forms, something strange happens. The Omnitrix malfunctions, or evolves. Ben begins cycling through transformations of other Cartoon Network characters. First, he morphs into the playful, chaotic Uncle Grandpa, then he transforms into surprised Gumball Watterson himself. It's a subtle but excited, thrilling cameo. Gumball, even if only for a second, becomes a part of this amazed, wild multiverse-style crossover. After that, Ben shifts into Mordecai from regular show, sealing the moment as a proud tribute to CN's vast animated legacy. Though Gumball's appearance was brief, short, the fact that he was chosen alongside legacy characters shows how impressed, deeply, he's embedded himself into Cartoon Network history. He's no longer just a star of his own show, he's part of the triumphant pantheon. So far, we've seen Gumball make appearances, or at least get referenced, in multiple Cartoon Network shows. From Teen Titans Go to Ben 10, his presence within the CN universe is kind of expected. But what if I told you? Gumball may have inspired a scene in one of Disney's most beloved shows. Yes, we're talking about Gravity Falls, the critically acclaimed mystery series from Cartoon Network's arch-rival Disney. The connection? It happens in the very last episode of Gravity Falls, titled Weirdmageddon 3: Take Back the Falls, which aired on February 15, 2016. During one scene, Dipper and Wendy are speeding through a Mad Max-style wasteland. being chased by Gideon and his gang. But as they drive, they begin passing through floating bubbles, each one warping the laws of reality. When the vehicle enters one of these bubbles, the characters are suddenly transformed into completely different versions of themselves. Not once, but multiple times as the chase progresses. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. This exact visual concept, a car chase with reality bending at every meter, is nearly identical to the 2012 Amazing World of Gumball episode, The Job. In that episode, Richard Watterson takes a new job as a pizza delivery driver. And with every inch he moves forward toward the delivery address, the entire reality of Elmore begins to collapse in on itself. Multiple universes collide, characters morph, the animation style changes, and all of it happens while Richard and the family are inside a speeding car. In both shows, we see vehicle-based movement through unstable realities, constant character transformations, and even the visual design of reality bubbles or portals causing the shift. But here's the thing, Gumball's episode came out 4 years earlier, in 2012. That's right, when the Gravity Falls finale dropped, fans online immediately spotted the resemblance. Reddit threads, forums, and YouTube comments began asking, did Gravity Falls copy Gumball? Was it plagiarism, a coincidence, or a quiet homage? To this day, no one knows. But one thing is certain, Gumball's creative chaos was so ahead of its time, even rival studios might have taken notes.